Good morning and welcome to the Polytechnic Institute of Viseu. I would like to begin by saying, on behalf of the project team, CAPACITAR PARA A QUALIDADE, thank you very much for accepting our invitation to participate in our conference between higher education institutions with certified internal quality assurance systems. With this meeting, we intend to understand how higher education institutions define their options regarding their quality assurance systems. At the same time, try to verify if, even guaranteeing autonomy and responsibility for their policies, different higher education institutions still have important elements regarding quality assurance systems, such as internal self-evaluation, external evaluation, and public reporting. Today, we ask three speakers to share their experience regarding the institutional internal quality assurance systems. Professor Ali Sinak, Quality Coordinator of Ankara University, Georgia Christou, Head of Internal Quality Assurance of Neapolis University Pafos, and Professor Andrea Miocic from the Center for Quality Assurance and Enhancement of the University of Rijeka. Good morning, Professor Ali Sinak. Please be so kind to share your experience regarding Ankara University internal quality assurance system. Since we are experiencing some technical difficulties with Ankara University, we are going to reproduce the intervention of Georgia Christou, Head of Internal Quality Assurance from Neapolis University Pafos.
Hi all, my name is Georgia Christou and I'm the Head of Internal Quality Assurance in Neapolis University Pafos in Cyprus. I'm glad for my participation in this conference between higher education institutions with certified internal quality assurance systems, as it is a great chance to exchange ideas and enhance our knowledge. First, I would like to say that our university has been recognized by the Sure Plus Quality label for good practice in quality management. Let me present you our quality assurance system that is organized at our university. Neapolis University follows the guidelines and instructions by the Cyprus Quality Assurance Agency. Neapolis chooses for an integrative quality approach based on the PROS model and methodology for integrative quality management and the EFQM excellence model. Quality management covers all the important domains, input factors, processes, and results domains of the university. It is not only focused on the key processes of teaching and research, but also on services to the community and the internal management of input factors according to the EFQM excellence model. First of all, we have established a Quality Assurance Committee, which consists of persons with a managerial function, administrative staff with a key role in information management, planning and organization, the head of quality assurance, and a selection of academics. The Quality Assurance Committee also evaluates and endorses documents to be used in quality assurance. According to the Cyprus Agency of Quality Assurance Guidelines, Neapolis has set committees of internal quality assurance per department. The quality assurance system uses 4 different tools that are being used for the evaluations. The first tool that we use is the PROS system. PROS is a tool which allows you to build a quality management system online and in collaboration with others. For example, you can organize consultations, evaluations, and surveys, determine priorities, follow up improvement projects, and monitor indicators. We use this tool in order to evaluate our programs of studies in a 3 to 4 year cycle. The other tool that we use is Moodle. A questionnaire is uploaded in Moodle for students' evaluation every academic semester. This evaluation gives feedback for the course and the stakeholders, such as academic, administration, and infrastructure. Using the Moodle, we are also trying to evaluate the quality of the courses. Based on the evaluation course observation, which is also being done every semester, we observe the quality of the courses based on indicators and following the European standards and guidelines. Finally, quality assurance performs the evaluation for academic staff using two different methods. The one method is the institutional effectiveness, which is being done once a year by the heads of the departments. Following specific criteria and indicators, the heads of the departments evaluate specific areas such as involvement to research, university services, community service for each academic member. Once a year, the self-assessment report is completed by the members of academic staff and sent to the heads of the department. This report is based on self-assessment and evaluates the experience, the performance and competences, and basic competences. This evaluation is followed by the supervisor's report. The aim of the evaluations done every year or every semester is to find the weaknesses, propose solutions, and get the essential feedback for the improvement of the organization, programs of studies, quality of teaching, and the infrastructure. Neapolis has also developed the Quality Management Handbook that provides the monitoring framework leading and teaching and learning at the university, and its provisions have supervisory force. It includes all the essential policies and procedures that are followed by the administrative and academic staff of the university in order to ensure the quality. Thank you for watching this video. I'm looking forward to meeting you all during the conference.
Thank you, Maria Cristo. Professor Ali Sinar, good morning.
Good morning.
I was going to ask you to start your presentation, if you please.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me share my presentation. I hope it's okay. Yes, first of all, I'd like to express my gratitude and appreciation to your organization team for inviting me. Today, I would like to talk about quality assurance and accreditation process at Ankara. Journey of our university. Here is unstable. I'll try to do my best. First of all, what you see here is the historical milestones of our university. Ankara University, with more than 70,000 students, is a hub of academic, social, and cultural activity. The university offers a large academic portfolio and specializes in social, medical, natural, and applied sciences, as well as arts and sports. The university has 121 So sorry, now is okay. We have 18 faculties, 1 conservatory, 1 college, 11 vocational schools, and the other numbers I have already given. And here you see quality journey of our university. I will provide a snapshot over our quality journey. It has all started with the visit of a European University Association in 25. Their second visit was on June 2011. This visit was an opportunity to spread the quality culture. Faculties of veterinary medicine and pharmacy were the first faculties accredited by national certified body throughout our university. Veterinary faculty received the organization accreditation European Association of Establishment for Veterinary Education on April 27. This to 2007. This is the first accreditation and approval of a Turkish veterinary faculty by AAFA. Our accreditation and quality coordinatorship was established on February 2015. First of all, we coordinated certification of all administrative units by EN ISO 9001 QMS standards. On November 2017, the evaluation team of Turkish Higher Education Quality Council visited for an external evaluation. In their feedback report, evaluators stated that we need to develop a mechanism to spread quality culture in view of large-scale structure of the university. Based on this observation, we have started our new self-evaluation process. Based on these observations, we have achieved a structure for continuous improvements in all over the university. Here, what you see is the decision of our Senate was stated here. This is a directive in 2018, which outlines our self-assessment process. Here you see the one of our first package was EN ISO 9001 certification of all administrative units. We also applied cross-departmental self-assessment process. Here you see some example between the departments and inside the faculties and vocational schools. We applied a self-evaluation procedure actually. And thus we reach to all stakeholders of our university. I would like to provide certain steps in our process, this self-evaluation process we developed throughout Ankara University. Quality coordinatorship requests self-evaluation reports from faculties and vocational schools on annual basis. Our coordinatorship has performed the institutional external evaluation of faculties and departments through independent and experienced evaluation teams. The main purpose of self-evaluation is to evaluate processes related to learning and teaching, research and development, and governance system of faculties and departments. The external evaluation teams prepare feedback reports after their site visits, which are the most valuable output of the self-evaluation process of Ankara University. Feedback reports, our coordinatorship identifies strengths and weaknesses of faculties and vocational schools by publishing institutional self-evaluation reports after consolidation of feedback reports, sharing the evidence of improvement from the units with the evaluation teams, and determination of the improvement levels of the units by the rectorate. We applied the success evaluation system, which with other words, STAR system. We use this STAR evaluation system. According to this system, this is we assess faculties depending on their performance within the self-evaluation system of the university. Faculties are awarded a rating of 1 to 5 stars. Faculties are evaluated against 5 criteria. Among research, teaching, education, internationalization, impact to society. And here the results. This was we applied this self-evaluation 3 times in 3 years. That was the results of the first evaluation. First self-evaluation result, as you see, we take 83 criteria. I have already mentioned about it. Here you see the outcomes of the self-evaluation system. For instance, Faculty of Science, yes, here, Faculty of Science, 26 strengths and 57 weaknesses out of 30 criteria after the first evaluation. When we look at the last evaluation, here the last self-evaluation results of the faculty, Faculty of Science this time has 49 strengths and 34 weaknesses out of 83 criteria. We use the following formula to evaluate the improvement percentage of each faculty. Difference between the number of strengths from the last and the first evaluation divided by number of total criteria was used to calculate the improvement percentage. Here you see the improvement percentage. If a faculty satisfies less than half of the total criteria, then the faculty, here the improvement percentage, and as you see, veterinary medicine is the first one, and then science, dentistry, and the other faculties. So here the star system, after the all self-evaluation process, here I would like to explain the system shortly. If a faculty satisfies less than half of the total criteria, then the faculty could not awarded by a star. If a faculty satisfies between 41 and 49 of criteria, then the faculty is awarded by a star. This mechanism was applied for each stars. We have also, here, as you see, this is the plan, do, check, act cycle, and this is the improvement, increase, and we according to the results, we can say that this system help us to increase awareness of stakeholders on quality assurance system after self-evaluations. We have also used another system for accreditation, template of the report for accreditation maturity level system. Here you see. We have also developed a certain self-evaluation system for accreditation maturity level. At this slide, you see a part of the report. In this process, we examine readiness for program accreditation of each program at Ankara University. Throughout the process, we look for evidences that covers programs' educational documentation and policies. We focused on a set of criteria that a typical accreditation agency would focus on in Turkey. These self-evaluators will lead to a level certification of 3 categories. First category shows a department which is not ready for application. Here is the evaluation score. this accreditation maturity level regarding this formula. And here, accreditation readiness level, as you see, the first deemed not ready. Program is not ready for evaluation, for application. Second category shows the department needs some minor adjustment before its application. And third category shows the department is ready for application. So, according to the results, these categories are determined by their evaluation scores based on the number of strengths divided by number of total criteria determined during the site visits. I have already mentioned about it. And according to this, number of accredited programs really improved by the help of this system. I'd like to thank you for inviting me and listening and sharing time. Many thanks. If you have any comments, questions, and you are welcome.
Thank you, Professor Ali Sinak. We are going to present now the intervention of Professor Andrea Miotsis from University of Rijeka, and then we will have a period of question and answers.
Hello everyone and welcome to this remote presentation of the internal quality assurance system at the University of Rijeka in Croatia. My name is Aleksandar Šušnjar. I work in the Center for Quality Assurance and Enhancement of the University of Rijeka, and I will try to very briefly present to you what we do here in Rijeka internally to assure our quality. First, a little bit of introductory information about our university. So we are a relatively young university founded in 1973. We have around 17,500 students and we offer 163 study programs in all three cycles of higher education, so bachelor, master, and PhD. We have 1973 staff members, and we are very happy and proud that we can have a student-teacher ratio of 14:1, which allows our teachers enough time, capacity, and resources to dedicate themselves to students and to provide them with the learning support that they need. University of Rijeka also has 17 constituents, so faculties and departments, and this will be important for for the following parts of the presentation, because please have in mind we are a quite decentralized institution, meaning that significant functions are also being conducted at the faculty, department, or academy level, so at the level of constituents. Before going deeper in presenting the internal quality assurance, this is just a bit of a context in which we operate. So this is quality assurance in higher education in Croatia. It started with this establishment of the national agency responsible for external QA, and there's also a national council, which is an expert and advisory body. The agency is a key stakeholder in Croatian quality assurance system, because it conducts accreditations, reaccreditations, and external evaluations of higher education institutions. Obviously, for us, the reaccreditation is the most important, and you can see here the criteria that the agency uses to reaccredit higher education institutions every 5 years. If you're interested to see more about this system of external reviews in Croatia conducted by the agency, I've included also a link here at the bottom, and you can see the details there. But to go towards what we do here in Rijeka, again, just a little bit of history for context and how it all started. Well, as you can see here on this slide, the year 2003 was an important year for us in quality assurance. The Office for Quality Improvement or Enhancement was established in that year. The first ordinance or rule book as a normative act of the university was passed in 2003. And first QA teams, we today call them boards or committees, were established at university constituents, because I mentioned this level is extremely important to catch in this QA system. So the QA teams were formed also in that year. Now, all of these everything that we do is, of course, framed by the strategy of the University of Rijeka, which makes explicit and quite specific references to the system of internal quality assurance. But operationally speaking, on the level of everyday standard activities in internal QA, the handbook for quality of studying at the University of Rijeka is the fundamental document. It's the most important instrument that we have, because it contains all the methods, tools that we use, and also the procedures and processes which we use for improving quality of our study programs. University of Rijeka also has a quality assurance policy since 2009, which is there to kind of guide all the internal QA initiatives towards the goals which are set in the university mission and vision. And on this slide, you can see the organization of our internal quality assurance. It is fairly complex. There are many bodies, as you can see, and it all starts with the Vice Rector for Quality Assurance and Enhancement, which is part of the university management, of course, and whose responsibility is to care for the development of this internal system. This person is supported by various bodies, as you can see here. So first of all, we have the QA committee at the university level. This is a body composed of various stakeholders, internal and external, and of representatives from university constituents. We also have the QA center. I mentioned that that's where I work, for example. So the Center for Quality Assurance and Enhancement is a unit of the university which provides professional support to these processes. And finally, there's also at the university level the Rector's Council. So the council is a small body, advisory body, consisting of experienced and senior members of our academic staff who have significant experiences in the field of quality assurance. So this happens at the university level. We try to constantly maintain this connection to the faculty, academy, or department level, where we have the QA boards, which are composed similarly to how the QA committee is composed on the university level. So they have to be inclusive, they have to have stakeholders represented, and they take care of the operational level of internal quality assurance. And you can see here the list of their main tasks. Now, what do we try to achieve with these structures? Well, the main goal is to create a common basis, because our constituents are very diverse. They are also diverse in their internal structures. So the goal is to create like a common baseline against which we measure quality. Also, another very important function is to take into account the European, national, but also university standards, regulations, examples of good practices, etc., because it is really important for us, as I think it is for almost all universities today, to measure our quality in the same way as the best institutions in Europe do. Now, I mentioned that the handbook is the fundamental document, the most important tool and instrument that we have, because it's essentially a compilation of different tools and mechanisms. So this here is just to show you how it looked like in 2010. It was based on the ESG 2005, and these were the 7 standards that we used. So based on this handbook, we conducted the first internal audit cycle. I will explain a bit later what is internal audit, but essentially it is an internal review. So we did this evaluation, and we found, as you can see here, some strengths and weaknesses. I will not read them out here, but I would just maybe comment a little bit on the weaknesses. Besides the QA of science and research, which was lacking, and that's like one whole area missing, everything else that you can see under weaknesses basically refers to the fact that things were happening at the constituent level, but they were not systematized, so they could not be called a true QA system. They've not been standardized and used systematically and regularly. So this is something that we diagnosed as weakness. Now, the handbook was revised in 2016 based on the revision of the ESG, so the European Standards and Guidelines for Quality Assurance, in 2015. And then we included these very important new standards in the handbook. So what you can see here is the current version of the handbook, that is of the standards that we include in the handbook as the standards of quality for the University of Rijeka, and they are directly translated from the ESGs. And just a bit of an explanation on then how we take those standards and work with them by defining the role and the usefulness of specific parts of the handbook. So we have standards, obviously they're a certain state to be achieved. We have guidelines which are descriptions or ideas on how these standards could be reached. Reference documents are there because for us it's extremely important to be constantly connected to the initiatives and policy developments both on the national and EU level. And finally, examples of good practice. We believe it's important to always include them in all QA mechanisms, because these are the elements which actually encourage different stakeholders to take active role in quality assurance, to propose solutions, and to actually produce continuous improvement. So it's a motivating factor as well. I said that I would explain what the internal audit procedure is, and this internal audit is like the staple tool that based on the handbook we use to check the quality, to assess quality of University of Rijeka constituents. So the way that the internal audit or internal evaluation works is that from the central university level, we do these reviews, we assess the quality of each university constituent. The audit is divided into 4 phases. So first phase is planning, the second phase is audit in the narrow sense, meaning the site visit itself and studying the documents. Then in the third phase, we have the report, and in the fourth phase, the follow-up. I would just pay a bit more attention to the self-evaluation phase of the internal audit, because this is something which is very important as a formative tool as well as a developmental tool. So we ask our constituents to write these self-evaluations in the same way as institutions typically do when they're being externally assessed. So we ask them to take all the existing documents, reports, evaluations, examples of feedback, to document everything, to compile it, and then to compare it with the standards which we have in our university quality assurance handbook. Once this is done, we ask the constituents to signal out their strengths and kind of briefly explain them, because that can then also be showcased, that can then also be transferred to other institutions, and also to realize where the improvements are needed, so where some weaknesses might be. And once these improvements, the need for the improvements is detected, we ask the constituents to clearly define activities, terms, and responsibilities for making these improvements. And then I showed you already what was the result of the first internal audit cycle. So I'll show you here the results of the second cycle, which was conducted based on the second edition of the University QA Handbook. So among the strengths, we have the documentation of QA, that the fact that the QA has really become systematized, and that the recommendations from previous cycle were adopted. I think you can perhaps see here already that these strengths are directly connected to the weaknesses of the first cycle. So the lack of systematization, standardization, etc. So yes, you can see here that based on the first cycle of audit, the constituents really corrected the situation, and this has, what has been weakness has become a strength. However, once we settle these fundamental weaknesses, so once we have assured ourselves that we really have structures in place which can be called an internal QA system, we have detected then some further weaknesses. And that's good, because that's what drives us to improve continuously, and will never be done improving for sure. So things that we notice that we need to improve in the future is a connection of QA system to its fundamental effectiveness, things like outcomes, outputs, the involvement of employers, so external stakeholders in study program design and development and inclusion of professional or practical competences in our study programs. So these are the things to work on before the third cycle of internal audit. However, besides the internal audit as this main tool for internal quality assurance, we also have a series of thematic evaluations, so evaluations which are focused on a very small part of the university activities or a specific stakeholder, and this is a list here. In 2009 and 10, we did an evaluation of the Bologna reform studies because this was particularly relevant at Croatia at that time. We were just getting used to the Bologna system. We did an evaluation of graduate level studies in 2012-13. Since 2016, we are doing a student satisfaction survey, which is conducted at the end of the study program. So when a student has immediately after the graduation. That provides us with a perspective of students of the whole study program, and it is incredibly valuable information for the revision of the study programs. In 2019, we also conducted satisfaction surveys of academic and non-academic staff, and then in 2021, also the assessment based on self-assessment of online learning and teaching, because this was, of course, particularly relevant in the time of COVID-19 restrictions and move to stronger online learning and teaching. And finally, just a few words on what awaits us in the future at the end of 2021 and in the next years. So the new university strategy was passed this year. You can see here the title, European University of the Future. So this is something we all need to work towards, and that includes the internal QA system as well. Soon we will also adopt the third edition of the University QA Handbook, and based on that, we will conduct the third cycle of internal audit at the University of Rijeka. So what will change in practice? In the third edition of QA Handbook, we have included examples of best practice from the second round of internal audit, because when we conduct audits, we're not just there to tell people what they do wrong. We actually learn about many good practices, and then we try to disseminate them across the institution. We have updated reference documents, of course, because the national and the EU policy landscape has changed a lot over the last 5 or 6 years. We have included strong criteria for social dimension, meaning the inclusion of vulnerable and underrepresented groups in higher education. And we have moved certain examples of good practice to guidelines, meaning that we want to upscale them, that these are not only now just like nice ideas, which would be good to have, but they are, let's say, more strongly suggested to all the university constituents. And then when we start with the new cycle of internal audit, this will be a much more focused or thematic approach than it has been previously, because in this third cycle, we will really specifically focus on those areas that were deemed problematic in the past. So it will not be such a comprehensive review as it was in the first 2 cycles. And we will also build upon the previous cycle, as I mentioned, but also the results of all those thematic analyses that I mentioned a few slides ago, because they really provide a wealth of information to everyone here at the university and constituent level, and we really expect everyone to use this information that is available to improve all aspects of the functioning. So that would be it. I hope you've enjoyed this short presentation and that it has been at least somewhat useful to you. It has been a pleasure to present this to you, at least remotely.
We have now time for some questions. I don't know if the audience wants to ask Professor Alicinat some questions about his intervention.
Well, I can present a question to Professor Alicinat, if possible. It was not so clear to me what exactly were the stakeholders that were considered at Ankara University. If Professor Alicinat could explain a little bit more, I would be pleased to hear. I don't know if he was referring strictly to internal stakeholders or if it is included external ones, and if so, what are they? Another observation is that from the explanation that he presented to us, it appears that the program is very integrated by the different areas. It would be interesting to know if at the very end the system will have some global analysis to the entire university as a whole and not just by each area. Thank you.
I'm so sorry, but we are again with technical difficulties with Ankara University. We have no contact at this moment with Professor Alicinat. I'm sorry for you asked the question, Professor Wiscast was.
Okay, that's okay.
Okay. Sister, we lost the contact with Professor Alicinat. I think we are going to end this session. I would like to thank you all the participants for such a fruitful and constructive participation and for bringing your expertise and experience around the table during the conference. My special thanks to the Vice President for Quality of the Polytechnic Institute of Viseu for all your support and for being part of this initiative and exchange of good practices. Thank you very much once again. Obrigada a todos os presentes. Amanhã de manhã continuaremos as sessões com a experiência do Politécnico de Viseu. Iremos enviar as ligações durante esta tarde, caso queiram continuar a assistir. Muito obrigada por terem estado presentes, muito obrigada por terem partilhado a vossa experiência e até amanhã.
Muito obrigado, fiquem bem.
Obrigada.
Obrigado.
Obrigado e até amanhã.